back to Southside Stories. I'm Alicia from Hambleton House Community Centre, and I am very lucky today to have counsellor from Division 3, Cathy Zeiger. I'm really excited to have you here.
Oh, thank you. I'm very happy to be here too.
One of the things I must say, Cathy, that I do like is you always look very well presented.
Thanks.
Yeah, I appreciate that when I see you.
I always think, make the best of yourself, and I just...
Definitely. Yeah, well, I appreciate it. So, but yeah, I'm so glad that you're here. You are a very prominent face on the south side of Cairns, being counsellor for Division 3, and you have been since 2015?
That's correct.
Right? Yeah, so that's pretty cool. We'll get to all of that, but you haven't always been a Cairns local, have you?
No, so I grew up in Sydney, and my dad was a psychiatrist. So I grew up in all the psychiatric centres around Sydney. Yes, I'm terribly well balanced.
Of course, we can see that.
But yes, and then came up to Cairns when I was probably about 18.
Yeah, okay. And so what brought on the sea change?
The sea change, well, we all make poor choices in life, and I chose this dropkick guy who was quite violent, and even though I'd split up with him, he went, we always were going to go around Australia, so if you get back with me, we can go on our around Australia trip. And I'm like, okay. So I did, and it was quite good coming up and everything, but I came to Cairns and I loved it.
Yeah.
And so whilst we were supposed to go around, I think alcohol got the better of him, and we stayed where we were. And so White Rock Caravan Park was my place.
Okay.
That's where I lived for 7 or 8 months in the van park, and that was fun. And but I still loved the place, and here I am back in White Rock area. So I often think that was like around one of those things that came around. But I was there for 7 or 8 months. I worked for Mike Spalding as a builder, and then unfortunately his violence just got way too much, and I managed to break that cycle. And then he came after me with a gun for quite a while.
Just to be clear, this is your boyfriend, not your boss.
That is correct.
Yes.
Boyfriend at the time, and so that was a good move, getting rid of him, and then I just kind of went into hiding for a little bit. And one of those things where you look behind your shoulder, for about 10 years took me to shape that. Just, is that him type thing.
At such a young age, and being so far away from your family
I know, and it wasn't as if anything had ever happened severe in my family to cause me to make that poor decision. I just did. But at least learned from it. And so I remember when I was working for Mike, I had an incident on the Esplanade where this guy was drunk and tried to attack me in front of everyone. I'm like, that's it! And I went and joined Matsumoto Karate and stayed there for many, many years.
Yeah. So you can kick anyone's butt? Is that what you're saying?
Well, I could back then, but definitely I do have that little bit of fight in me.
Okay, so you might be a superhero. That's well, you are a bit of a superhero. You seem to be everywhere all the time. It's one of those things, there's an event happening and Cathy's there. And quite often you're there shaking hands, talking to the people. You're not just sort of hiding out in the background. You're wearing an orange shirt and very obviously there.
Yeah, no, I got to kind of start one of the girls' rugby league championships this morning, so that was cool. So I'm all bright and orange this morning. But no, I love community. I love being part of it. I love that you get to know all these different people, and people teach you things, and it's just being engaged. And I'm a little hyperactive, so I do love to get out and about. But I think that's what I'm here for. By networking and meeting people all the time, I can help people better, because I get to know, I'm like, she's out of Mission Australia, and I'm talking to someone, go talk to her, or you can go and talk to Alan, or talk to whoever, and I can connect people.
Connections.
That's correct. So the more involved I am, I love every bit of it. I mean, my kids are grown up now, so I'm able to do that. I just really enjoy it and just love being engaged.
Yeah, so you've been a counsellor for the last 7 years. Or 6 or 7 years. No, it's only 6 because it's not 2022 yet. I'm counting chickens before they hatch. But you've always been very active within the community, just on a volunteer basis. What's some of the things that you've done?
That's right. Well, on the south side, I used to do a bit of contracting with Mission Australia, doing early intervention programs with youth and families. I drove a school bus, and did a lot of PA work. But I really enjoy, just you do what you've got to do to pay the rent. But I actually enjoyed all of it, even though it was all at the same time. That was fun. So yeah, having pets in the park. I used to organise pets in the park because I was trying to. We've got all people that really need to be connected to services, and then the services trying to connect with the people but having problems. So I was a vet nurse for 10 years at the Oval Vet Surgery. So I just drew upon that and went, what do people love? People love animals. And so what a great icebreaker. If you go somewhere and there's dogs and you don't know anybody, you go, oh, isn't he nice? Oh, sweet. Oh, can I pat him? And it breaks that straight away. People engage. So we did all these events from fattest dog, long ears, floppy, all that type of thing, and best dressed dog. And then I'd invite all the service providers along. So they brought their marquees and set up at Revisa Park. I'd get, that's how I figured out how the events program worked with council way before it was even there, so I'm onto that. And just tried to kind of get sponsorship and do all that. But it's not rocket science, but it's just connecting people and doing free breakfast programs at, it was Bentley Park we started, and then White Rock School, and then from there I had another 13 schools that I set up breakfast programs in, because it makes such a difference to the kids, and different demographics in but there's always, you've got to be inclusive and include all the kids, and I love working with kids, and especially teens, and if they're getting a good breakfast, they're just set for the day, and whether they forgot their breakfast or whether they're in a family environment that is not serving them breakfast. So nobody knows. They all come and eat breakfast together.
Or some people might even just want second breakfast.
That's right. So they can all do that. And that's great. And I still do that. So I still work at White Rock School, and I'm president of the P&C there as well. And we've got 7 other schools in the area. I go to all those P&Cs because it just connects and engages.
I remember when I was a teacher at St. Gerard Magellas, and we had our brand new open playground space, the nature playground, and you came along to that, and you were there for the opening of the nature playground space.
That's it. And when SGM had their fete, I'm the one behind the fairy floss machine. Because I've got this fairy floss machine that I purchased.
You have your own fairy floss machine?
That is correct. I bought it because I've got a charity, an Australian charity that sponsors children in Kenya. I've got 40 children in Kenya that I organise sponsorship for, just to pay their education fees. It's not a, I don't have to worry about orphanages and things. They're just kids that are without parents or with grandma or whatever. They've got no way of breaking their poverty cycle. So I organise education, and I employ people in Kenya to pay those fees. And it's all registered with the government, DGR, the whole thing. Where was I going with that?
Fairy floss machine.
Fairy floss machine, yes. I purchased the fairy floss machine to try and raise some more money for that. Never used it for that. Thought I'd set up at Rusty's and just, it's a great little cash cow. But instead, I use it at all the school fetes. So at SGN, that was the first fete that I used it at many years ago, and now all the other schools will use it at theirs, and it's great.
Meanwhile, now you've got me thinking like, ooh, when can I have Cathy come in and serve everyone fairy floss?
But it's a wonderful way, because I'm serving the floss and teaching other people to make the floss, but I'm also meeting everybody. Here, have your fairy floss, and because I'm engaged, because I'm not good standing around. I'm like, give me a job, give me something to do. Don't care what it is, just give me a job.
So you've got your own charity. You are a counsellor. You've got 3 kids. Did you say 5?
5 grandchildren.
5 grandchildren now. It's crazy. Now, here's the big question. When do you sleep?
Yes. I'm 4 or 5 hours a night we sleep, Because, I'm just wired that way. I just go.
And we are lucky that that's the way you're wired, because you're getting a lot of stuff done. Before, you were telling me about how some things get you excited. So fairy floss gets you excited, pets get you excited, events get you excited. And you very, very excitedly exclaimed, footpaths!
I know, who would have ever thought? You had a time years ago I'd be excited over a footpath. I'm just like, what? But no, like, just for White Rock and some of the areas, they've just been neglected for years, or I don't know why, but they just didn't have anything. So I'm like a kid at Christmas, I'm just like, with lollies, what do they need? And we've recently, thanks to a grant from the state government, put in 3.5 kilometres of footpaths all through White Rock, because the design of that particular suburb, and Warri as well, is there's very poor connectivity. So you've got forever to get to another park. So we're working on that as well. But all those footpaths connect the other footpaths. So I'm like, let's have a community event, free Barbie. And we're going to get little activities for the kids to paint rocks and put them everywhere.
Oh, nice.
And just engage the community. And obviously we'll invite Mission and Santa Care and a few others just to come and hang out.
Sign us up, we'll be there.
Yeah. And just do some chalk stuff. And it's so exciting because, and initially people were like, oh, I don't know about the footpaths, it might bring more, criminal activity behind our house. And I'm like, well, it will activate the area. And so it's wonderful to see that it did activate the area.
Yeah.
And look, there's crime everywhere, but it did not increase the crime.
Yeah.
It actually decreased it in a way that it's active. And with more people out there on the footpaths, there's less criminal activity there because there's people around all the time.
Well, as a person who rents and things, I can see that White Rock is fast becoming one of those areas that's becoming quite popular because it's quite central. I mean, once upon a time it wasn't considered central, but now White Rock's considered quite central to the city. It's it's well connected to the city, and those sorts of changes as well help to make it a really lovely, family-friendly place to live.
The whole, the areas, and I love this. I put big entrance statements. Bayview Heights, but in Warrie, Forest Gardens already has entrance statements. We redid those. Every Monday afternoon I meet with Clontarf boys, and we do some painting, and we repainted all the entrance statements just so that it looks good, and then put the entrance statement at White Rock because it looks better, and it's just pride of place. Get rid of that graffiti the second you see it. Make sure the place looks neat, and I'll dob in all those bomb cars everywhere or overgrown properties. Darn right. Because they get cleaned up. And there's some properties I can't do much about if they're, state properties, but everywhere else, let's make the place look good, everyone feels better, and it just changes the whole feel of the area.
Yeah, let's feel proud of where we live.
Exactly.
Because the South Side is quite an amazing place to live, and it's becoming better and better all the time.
Exactly. It's the fastest growing area in Kansas, the South Side, and one of my catch cries is Division 3, the place to be. And when we meet people, and even in the office, we're doing, I'm all frocked up and I've got to meet all these flash people, like, and where are you? And I'm Division. Division 3, the place to be. That's where it is, guys. And everyone just goes, But they all remember.
Yeah.
They all remember because this is the South. The South. Why would you live anywhere else? It's quick to get in. We've got great roads. Who wants the beaches? As beautiful as they are. Take you over an hour to get in the morning.
Yes.
We zip in. Once Ray Jones has finished, it'll be fine. And the people are good. They're friendly. We've got heaps to do, and it's just growing like wildfire.
Yeah. It is a great place. And you're also part of the Cairns South Together team as well.
Correct.
So what role do you have in that, and what do you do?
Well, we've got a steering committee over that, so it's a collective impact project. And a lot of collective impact projects, if not governed correctly, can fall over because people are people, and often they've got their agendas or they've got their favourite pet project. Whereas what we want to do is improve the lives of children and next generations and break a lot of this generational stuff that's happening. So by having cluster groups of people specialising in community development or youth or early childhood or health, and they all go, what's working, what's not, and then bring it to the table. So I'm deputy chair of the steering committee, Curtis Peters the chair of the steering committee, and we have an amazing group of just well respected in people, whether they're life experience or whether it's Brett Shafirius from head of police. They're people that are able to monitor and go, okay, right, we've identified this, we can do this, so it's governed well. So should anything go, no, look, let's just get that back on course. So it's a fantastic program, and we're very grateful for Mission Australia for being the backbone of that.
And hopefully with working with people from the community and different organisations and services and things, really start to bring everything that we need to the South Side.
And of course, we often hear of, service providers or government departments in silos. People aren't talking to each other, and you often think, well, this program's great and that program's great, but sometimes they both do the same thing. Why don't we try and connect it or find out what's missing and make them work better together? Let's communicate together. So even by just going through this process of people, like we're all sitting around the table, it's nothing for someone to go, oh look, I'm looking for someone to help me with, expand on this program. I think there was one, Bruce Houghton, who's the principal of Bentley Parks, on there, and he was looking at programs for, I think it was Indigenous girls, and someone said, oh, I know this is working really well. So just by being together, we're able to kind of swap ideas and connect different people to different activities.
Absolutely. So that's exciting that you're a part of that.
Yeah,
exciting that that's coming. Well, the next few years it's going to be definitely watch this space.
Exactly, just to see the improvements, and we can make improvements. And I know things, often you can go, it's just all too much, it's all too hard. But if we do absolutely nothing, there will be no change. Yeah. So if you can just make lives, one child's improved, isn't that better?
Yeah, nothing. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And if someone who's watching this is just a regular community person who, before you became counsellor, that's who you were, a regular community person, and they're also passionate about seeing lives improved. Yeah. Can they be involved in the Can South Together?
Oh, well, absolutely. Well, the cluster groups, we're always looking for people, life experience or skills, whichever. Let's say you had an interest in youth, and you've been working with youth, you might be able to come and bring something to the table. We really need the cluster groups to have more people in it, because the more people going, oh, well, this is working, or I've got concerns about this, or this is not working and I've experienced X, Y, Z, and they can share their life, experiences and everyone's got something to bring to the table. Yeah. So we would love to have more people involved in the cluster groups.
Awesome. So you can always just contact Hambledon House Community Centre, and we can always connect you to the Can South Together team if you were interested in that. You've been a counsellor since 2015.
Yeah.
Now, when people think politicians, politics, quite often, I don't know but for me it comes up into mind as quite a boys' club, really. I mean, we are lucky, we are having more female representation and more cultural diversity and representation in politics, around Australia. But still, it is predominantly male dominated. So first off, how was it when you first started?
Yeah, well, it was interesting as I started, because a few people went, oh, you'd be great as a local counsellor. They knew that there was a position and expression of interest, which is the counsellor at the time, which was Rob Pine, went into state politics. He did so 1 year before the next election, so they didn't have to hold a by-election. So they basically asked for expressions of interest, which was just like going for a job interview. Yeah. So, which is interesting when you think, when we're voting for people, we don't know who we're voting, but you only know what you see. Yeah. Sometimes it's only their face, or you just don't really know. Can they do the job? So I suppose this works for me in a way, because went, okay, what does the job involve? And it wasn't really that much info, but I remember putting in my expression of interest and what I'd done. And
so like a resume and a cover letter.
Like a resume, yes. Yeah. And I had some friends really help me, get the wording right. Yeah. And I mean, I hadn't been to university. I just was mainly life experiences and everything from vet nursing to administration to working in schools and just doing community work and events and charities.
And Wild World.
And Wild World.
Yeah, all the Cairns locals.
Yes, Cathy was the cockatoo trainer at Wild World. Oh yeah.
You didn't tell me that part.
The cockatoo trainer girl. That was me.
I loved the cockatoos.
Oh, it was so much fun. They were so cute. But everything helps, But like everything you go through in life prepares you for where you're going. Yeah. Good or bad. And I know working in Kenya, I had death threats. Politics is nothing. But I remember saying, I'm not a politician. I'm not even political. I'm not involved in any party. I'm just not into that. I just like working in the community. It's local government. That's great. Yeah. I'm like, well, okay, I can do that. But I was used to working behind the scenes. I'm more than happy to make that machine work, and I can do that well. I don't need to be the person out the front. So the thing was a blessing for me was that I didn't have to go and put my face on a stick. I was just going for a job. And I remember I was driving my school bus, one of 3 jobs that I did to pull in enough money to pay the rent. And when the phone rang, and I finished doing the run, and it was Annie, who's the mayor's PA. And she said, oh, the mayor needs to see you today. And I laughed. So of course he does. He wants to see if I'm insane or not. And so...
and the jury's out.
Yeah, I know, right? I'm still a little quirky. So I go in and I remember just being blown away, like the mayor's making me a cup of tea and I'm in the mayor's office. And I had 2 frocks. And so the one frock, I walk in and anyway, and he's telling me how it all works, and there's a panel of people, and and this is how they choose anyway. And he goes, well, you're it, and you're coming in tomorrow at 9 o'clock. And I'm like, my bus run finishes at 8:30, so I'm thinking, oh gosh. So I'm like, oh, and I think I said something really intelligent, like, oh wow, oh okay, okay, great. See you tomorrow. I'm like, oh, and so I remember, having my second frock. After I finished the run, went in, and it was good. The PA, she was standing there, took my handbag. It was in the big chamber, which of course is quite, inspiring. Yeah. It's almost like on the movies when they've got the court. Yeah. And it was this big room, and there was media, and there was people, and I'm just like deer in the headlights. And she said, "Come over here," and we did that, and that was the beginning of it. But for 3 months, I just listened, and. Like I know that I can do stuff well, but I don't know anything about sewer or water or planning at the time. So it was a lot to take in. So it was just a matter of, I remember just being that face of just, never tell people you're scared, never tell them you're nervous. Yeah. And then they don't know. Yeah. So just sat there calmly, and every now and then I'd really think about it. I'm like, okay, I'll ask that question. And I go, oh, good question. I'm like, yeah, that's right, I got a good question. But the rest of the time,
I'm intelligent.
Yes. But the rest of the time, probably for fear of asking that sound really stupid, I just stayed quiet and just learnt and soaked it all in like a little sponge. But anything community, it was away. I was in my element. So while I was learning all that other stuff, just from being around and asking questions, I got a handle on it. But the hardest thing for me was I went and saw Deb Hancock, who was Chamber of Commerce CEO. And my daughter was working for her at the time, and I really admired her. She was a strong woman, but very personable, but just really knew her stuff. And I'm like, Deb, I've got this job. I need some advice. And I've always been one of surround yourself with people who know more than you. Yeah. Because they fill in all the,
and that's you're good at certain things, and that's how you
learn. And she said to me, if there is a letter opening, you go to it. And I'm like, okay. She said, you need to tell people what you're doing. And I said, I can't, big nervous self, I can't do that. She said, you need to find a way of people knowing that you're doing things without, I said, I just can't go and go, hey, look at me. I still can't do that. But I've got more comfortable with, making sure that my Facebook page is up with, this is happening in White Rock at the moment. It's not, look at me, this is happening. This is the thing that's happening. Yeah. I might be in the photo, or I might be with, but I want to promote the stuff that's happening. I want to promote the people that are doing all these great things. But by doing that, that worked for me. Yeah. And it took me a year to really get my head around that, because I was just so don't look at me, I just want to get the work done. Yeah. To then having to put my face on a stick in an election. Yeah. So, and it was quite uncomfortable. And then people would they go, I saw your face the other day. And I'm like, yep, that's right. But just accepting that and working with it, and then you just got to own it. Okay, that's exactly what I do, and yes, that's what I do, and that's me, and I have to do media, and that's what I do. I just think whatever you do it as confidently as you can, and if you don't feel confident, just fake it. Yeah. No one needs to know.
Fake it till you make it.
That's right. Until you just own it. Speak as confidently as you can. Get instruction. So I just did lots of experiences putting myself really uncomfortable. I get those networking things. Yeah. I didn't like those to start with, and now I love them. Yeah. I go along and I meet everyone, and I love to kind of go, hi, what's your name? Alicia, great. And what do you do? Yeah. And just it's all about relationships, everything we do.
And it's also, those networking things are also really great to connect with people that you haven't seen for a while.
That is correct. I know, often it's just like, oh wow, just like with all my friends, it's just great. Yeah. But to meet new people and to try and elevate them and help them and encourage them, it's really, really great. So that's how I started in politics. But I remember the mayor saying to me in that very first interview, he said, you've got 3 months. I'm like, oh. But I just instinctively knew that was 3 months to find my feet. Yeah. You're forgiven for 3 months because you don't know what you're doing.
Yeah.
But you got 3 months.
Yeah.
And he was right. So that's why I stayed quiet. But yeah, working with men, I mean, I've worked as a PA for men and I have no issues with that. But you learn you need to be assertive.
Yeah.
But never be arrogant. I can't
Yeah.
stand arrogance in people. I just think you need, and like at the moment we're working budgets. Now this council is great in that we all get on. I might be on their team, I'm an independent, but we still get on. And that's conducive to having a healthy council.
Yeah.
I feel sad for places, and there's many of them with people that shouldn't be in that position who vote against something because that person voted for it. Like, it's disgusting.
Yeah.
But our council's not like that.
It's about the community.
It's about the community.
Excellent.
But no, we're having discussions. Now, I'm fighting for stuff in my area, and I want to make sure that's done. I want to make sure the budget is fiscally responsible and we're doing the right thing by people. And I get heated.
Yeah.
I'm like, I voice my opinions, but nothing's personal. But I'm in there, I'm paid to do my best. And if I have to be assertive, I don't care whether it's a male or a female, and I don't have any qualms about it. And I think that earns you respect.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I was just thinking before when you were saying, you had to go to places and you hated the idea of telling people what you were doing. And I wonder sometimes if that's something as a woman that we're sort of told that that's not attractive. Like, no one wants to hear that.
No. But you can do it in a manner that's not, that you're not being all that. You can just do it friendly and relaxed, and you find your own way. But no one likes arrogance. No one likes anybody who walks in, male or female, that just goes, I'm all that.
Yeah.
And it's just not a pretty look. But be confident in what you do, and just know that you can do it. And when you can't do it, ask for help and say, I'll help you with that, and I'll bring someone in that knows what they're talking about.
I like that, faking it till you make it, going in with confidence, being assertive when you need to, so nothing personal, just being assertive.
That's it.
And surrounding yourself with people who know more, so you grow.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, even without it being official, you get mentored along the way.
That's right.
And then in turn you can pass that knowledge on to others as, and that helps you continue to grow as well.
That's exactly right. So
that's not just politics advice or
that's
politics.
Life.
That's
life.
Stuff.
But when you're in a situation when you're dealing with people on a reasonably high level, and it's just, and I suppose having worked in the community for so long, I'm able to automatically adjust to people. Yeah. I don't, whether I'm talking, because I've been that person that's had no money and just going from day to day to, look, I've got to meet the Queen, I'll just, try to be polite, and
don't talk to her until she talks to you.
Apparently not.
Yeah,
no,
that's
apparently
not.
No.
But don't touch her.
Oh, And someone had a terrible moment with that.
Yeah.
But just to relate to people where they're at and just be genuine and be real, I just love that. You know, and that's been part of the community, so it's just really, it's like the best job.
That's really cool. It sounds like you're finally getting paid to do what you love.
That's exactly right. Then I was having a great time with all those things, but I keep going, I actually get paid to do this.
Yeah. Well, that's really cool. And I like those 4 life lessons as well. They're good. All right.
Yeah.
Now, Cathy, I think this is probably the most important question that I'll be asking you. Who does the best coffee in the South Side?
Well, look, I have to tell you, I'm a tea drinker, which, let me tell you, has its own issues. Okay. Right, I can...
Inform me.
All right, okay, so I can be a bit of a princess with my tea. I go to a cafe, I don't want a tea bag in my tea. If you give it to me, I'll drink it and I won't say anything. But I want to have some nice tea. So Glen at Breville, how do I say it? Reveille. All right, let's try that again. So Glen at Reveille at Mount Sheridan Plaza makes the best tea. That man gets tea leaves, brews a pot of tea for me, and puts it in my takeaway container. He spots me. It's just wonderful, and it's not too strong, not too weak, just right.
Okay. Well, you heard it here first.
Yeah.
That's important news. Well, thank you so much for joining us today and sharing about your life and about your work and everything that you do. You're quite cool. I like that. I think you might be my spirit animal. I'm not sure. But yes.
Well, that's good because I'm a little offbeat.
Yeah. No, I like that in a person. So thank you for joining us on Southside Stories, and thank you so much, Cathy, for joining us.
You're welcome.
Okay.